Welcome to this edition of Hindsight is Horrifying, the show where three mostly normal and somewhat cynical adults discuss life as members of the TV generation. Now here are your hosts, Darth Jada, Jason Mitchell, and Adam B.
Hi, welcome back, Hindsighters.
It's been so long.
We're back.
One eternity later.
My God, it's been a long time.
It's been a hot freaking minute.
I forgot what the music sounded like.
I know.
It took me home, though.
Yeah, this is our theme, right?
Yeah.
I'm loving
Yes,
it.
it is.
I
Right,
think
yeah.
so. They said our names.
Yeah,
so
so I'm pretty sure that means
we're on the right track.
welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We have
Hi,
been,
everybody.
Yeah, we've been gone for weeks and weeks because we've literally been doing everything.
And I wasn't even hospitalized this time, so that's exciting.
That is true.
We were
That
out
is
for
true.
good reasons.
Yes.
Yes.
Artistic reasons.
Autistic reasons?
Artistic.
Oh.
Potato, potato.
Yeah.
We
How
were
many ceiling
doing.
tiles again?
We were doing a play. We did a play.
Yes, a little
A musical play.
that you may have never heard of. It's called The Sound of Music.
I've
Yes.
heard of it.
We were working on that at the Alpharetta Arts Center, which was incredibly exciting. Jason's lovely wife, Elaine, led a children's workshop where
Wow.
the
Yeah,
she
hard
was
work.
great.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
Elaine pulled everything together. We were just her
I don't know
puppets.
how she does it.
We were like, Elaine, what do you need? Sound, music, other actors? Sure, why not? We're in.
How many shows did we do?
4.
Four. That was a lot of shows for people who don't do that sort of thing on a daily basis.
And for 7 kids to pull off such a concentrated, it was pared down to be sure, because normally The Sound of Music is approximately 7.5 hours long.
Yeah.
But Elaine pared it down to a manageable time, and I think it was about an hour and a half show if you include the intermission.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And the kids did so well. They were absolutely the stars of the show. They did so great. They were enthusiastic. They were in it. It was a treat to
Yes.
watch them perform.
And now it's done, and we will never do that again.
Woo! God.
Except we will, because Annie is starting.
Well,
we're not in it.
As Sean
We're not-
Connery says, never say never
Yes,
again.
Jason played the captain. I was Mother Abbess / Frau Schmidt, and Adam, of course, was Uncle Max.
Maxie.
Uncle Max.
Yes.
Don't you trust me?
I lived
No.
I lived to tell about it, though. The Gestapo did not take me away in this version.
Yes, this was the alternate version where Max lived somehow.
Yeah.
And
He
we're
found
very
springtime for Hitler. He was
Yeah.
okay.
He goes on the road with the kids.
But yeah, so we've been fairly busy. Jason has been, traversing the world
Yes.
with his
Ooh,
family,
that's
which was
right.
exciting too. He abandoned Adam and me, left us in America to go, traipsing across Europe.
Well, and actually, funny you say that, because I was in London and Paris for about 10 days ish. I lost track.
Ooh, Barbadurko.
But since you guys are both going on vacation next week and then the week after that, I
Yes.
decided we should have a new segment on the show where when somebody gets back, they get to tell us a little bit about their trip.
Okay.
So
You're going to have so much better stories than I am. I'm just going to
Are you
Florida.
going to St. Sam? No, we're in Florida.
I'm not telling. I don't want the...
Yeah, because Florida,
I don't want the
nothing
trolls to
interesting
know.
ever happens in
I know.
Florida. You're going to be in the same state as Florida Man.
Well, yes, but
stuff
Josh
always
Man
happens.
will be with me, so I'll be safe from Florida
Yeah,
Man.
but you'll be able to see things happening in Florida, though.
Yeah, like gator wrestling and all
Yeah.
that good stuff that they do down in Florida.
Anyway, though, so without further
us a
ado,
story.
this is our new segment called Hindsight is Horrifying Travel Tales.
Ooh.
And yeah, so that is it. And
Oh my God.
You guys couldn't
That's a
tell,
teaser?
but there is actually music that was just playing.
Oh,
with
okay.
the ladies and gentlemen at
I
home
thought I
got
went
to.
spontaneously
Yeah.
deaf, so I'm relieved now.
No, and so I just wanted to share very quickly just a couple of things. Ooh, let me go to there.
Please do.
Oh,
I
yes,
had
yes,
some-
yes. I want to see.
Oh yeah, so that's Mamma Mia. That's the plane we actually we flew
Is that the Concorde? I don't have my glasses on.
yes, it's,
I got to Paris.
Oh,
in
if you
2
can't
hours.
if you can't see, then yes, it is the Concorde.
It's a plane the size of a small city.
Virgin Atlantic names their planes like old ships, and that is the Mamma Mia.
Oh.
It's a A350 1000, and the cool thing is we actually flew the exact same plane there and back.
Oh, that's
So that was
neat.
neat.
Nice.
But it's neat because it's a plane with a lounge.
Ooh.
And if you're in upper class, you can go to the lounge and have some champagne.
Oh,
And that,
excuse me.
Did you fly first class?
upper class, thank you.
Upper
Yes.
class.
What's-
Business,
No.
it's their business class.
I was about to say, I don't know what upper class is on a plane.
So we get to London with a 12-year-old. First thing he wants to do is go to the M&M store.
Well, sure.
Yeah.
Do they taste different in England?
No, but I will say this: that store smells so much like chocolate that I thought I was going to puke. I've never smelt chocolate and gone before.
Oh man, I guess there can be
kids
too much
love
of a
it,
good
though.
thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And there are special flavors that you can't get on the streets
yeah
that are
yeah.
only offered at
Do
the M&M
tell,
store.
Mr. Brown.
Took a picture for you, Darth.
All right.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes.
Bob's Burgers.
Bob is everywhere.
Yay.
Let's see, I just want to zoom through here. Oh, that's here. Let me pull that one up.
You know, his silly family, I guess.
Well, no, it's actually the location. This is right next to the hotel. It's this tiny little place where that is where the scaffold was in London. So if you were lucky enough to be hung, drawn, and quartered,
Oh my God.
that's the spot right there.
Memories.
Yeah. So if that isn't haunted, I don't know what is. Oh yeah, this is an interesting one. This is the Tower of London. This is the armor of King Henry VIII.
Like you do.
Tell me if you notice anything unusual about
I'm having trouble
He looks
seeing.
a little short. Oh
He's
my!
missing his.
Mr. Henry VIII.
Oh,
He wanted to make sure that everyone knew who was boss.
who the big dick on campus
Yeah.
was? Yeah.
Is that Hector the Well Endowed?
Yeah, and it's funny because they actually make a thing of it, and you can take a picture, and
Oh, my.
and they still have the dick,
The accoutrement.
played in there. Yeah,
The Addictramon.
So, yeah, that's what David did most of the trip.
Stared
That's
at his
what I-
phone.
that's what I did
That's what
most of
you
the trip.
did, yeah.
Guinness.
That's the other thing I did most of the trip.
Ooh.
Yeah, David bought a hat, so
Aw.
is that? But I wanted to.
Oh, that was the wrong reaction now that he's 12, right?
Yeah,
I'm
now-
not
yeah, you
allowed to
can't
do
do
that
that now.
anymore. Mm.
If anybody ever goes to England, go to this pub. It's called Trader's Gate. Best pub in all of England. And
Okay.
really good drag queen bingo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Excellent.
and that's in London,
Yeah.
I assume.
Do they believe in life after love at that drag queen bingo?
They do. They do.
Excellent.
They absolutely do.
You
But
have
but
to.
but she sings bingo numbers to the tune of
Share
Cher.
songs.
Cher songs. Like literally.
That's excellent.
This is another one I had to take for you, Darth. This is an Archer reference.
Well, let me ask, did you drink it out of a
Pins.
pimp cup?
I asked,
Pim's
and they
cup.
didn't have a pimp cup,
Not-
so I couldn't have my Pim's cup in a pimp cup.
Not to sound too Hollywood, but where are we on that chalice?
And the amazing thing is, I've never had Pim's cup before, and it's god awful.
Awesome.
It's terrible.
How disappointing.
But there was one shot. Let's see. Oh
God,
yeah,
all
that
these
was
pictures of your silly kid. My God. The sea cop.
that was we were on the HMS Belfast, and we noticed that Mr. Brown had been there before and done some graffiti.
Yes, thank you for sending that to me.
Yeah.
By the way,
That was
Oh,
that was your
Adam.
call sign. But I
The
wanted to
sea cop
get
searching for the sea fanny.
more beer.
All the beer.
Ooh, the sea
Yeah,
fanny.
Paris.
Did you
Paris.
just hear that?
No, it just sunk in.
Oh yeah. Hang on.
There's the Eiffel Tower. How long were you in Paris?
We were only in Paris for a day, but oh yeah, this is what I wanted to show. The British, they have this great sense of humor,
Yes.
and so
Really?
this is a little trick that I'm convinced that they play on people who drink, because those are the stairs in a pub going up to the bathroom.
They look like they're going down to the bathroom.
No, they're
From this
going.
perspective.
Is it
Well,
a painting?
no. So when you've had about 5 or 6 beers, that is really daunting. And then they do something even meaner, which is on the way down, the stairs transform into that.
That's excellent. Are there any railings? I can't tell from here.
I mean,
is there
yeah,
nothing?
there
are.
yeah,
Okay,
there
so
are.
there is
Hang on
something
to
to
'em,
hold
though.
on to.
Yeah. But I'm gonna see, I'll bring this back over here. What's really important though is I got gifts for you guys.
Oh, he's setting the bar
Ooh.
super high.
Yes.
Yeah, I was about to say we've been given homework
Yes,
for,
we
for
have.
our trips.
I can no
Goodness.
longer enjoy my trip because I'll be worried about getting the right gift for you two.
Now,
There's nothing in Florida for me to bring back.
hang on, see, because
Florida
these are packed in Virgin
You
Atlantic
want Florida me?
amenities bags.
Ooh.
You
At
may-
least it's not, paper that's stapled shut. That's a nice change
Okay,
of pace.
so that one is yours.
Oh,
Garth,
thank
and this one is
you.
yours. Don't open them yet. Well, you
Not-
can unzip them. But I didn't have any.
Unzip it
I didn't have
slowly.
any wrapping paper.
So we'll just unzip.
So if you reach in there, you'll feel something that feels like a sock, and because it is. It's a
go
Virgin
first.
Virgin
It's a little
Atlantic
crusty
sock.
at one end.
Well,
Why
it's
is that?
been no, it's good. It's
Okay.
Yeah. So
Adam, God.
I thought maybe it was a little butter brickle in there or something. I'm going to
hate
pull it
you.
out right now.
go for it.
Okay.
Don't.
Now, glassware is always something appropriate to give. This is an etiquette thing. So, Mr. Brown, I wanted to get some drinkware for you.
Okay. It looks like a shot glass. Let's see what it is, though.
It's from my personal collection.
I'm going to be very careful.
I saw those and thought of you. We'll put some
Yikes.
pictures up.
Oh, my God. That is awesome.
He brought you back some English Hooters.
Yes.
These are. Yes.
Which
And-
Hooter doesn't mean the same thing in England, I learned before we started rolling.
It means both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. They'll know
Cool.
what you mean. It's a context clue sort of thing. No, don't keep going.
Okay. Stop now.
Darth,
All right.
your glassware is also in a sock. Okay. There are 2 socks in there for each of you, so, knock yourselves out.
Excellent.
Now, this, I saw this and I thought
This
of you.
does not look like a shot glass.
I said, again, glassware.
Yeah.
That is the tackiest ashtray I could
Oh,
find.
my God. You're going to have to take up smoking.
Oh, my.
May I?
That literally,
yes,
that
you may.
literally looks like it's been stolen from
a
pub
hotel,
or a
yeah.
hotel in the 1970s.
That's
That is-
delightful. I'm going to put my spare change in this. Oh, wait. I don't carry cash anymore.
Yeah, nobody does. Yeah.
Shit. I'll think of something to do
Yeah,
with
maybe
this.
put your
There's always
earrings in it or
something.
something
Yeah.
like
Yes,
that.
I'll put my jewelry
Yes.
in here. Ah, Bobby.
Now, let me see. The next
yeah,
thing.
what else is going on with these packages
well,
of goodies?
Socks
I
aren't
also
clean.
wanted to make sure that I got each of you something that was something that a person could wear.
Oh.
Because
Okay.
it's glassware.
A
and-
sock.
Well, yeah, but something more, useful, utilitarian sort of thing. So that you'll find a paper bag in each of yours,
All right. Go
Okay,
for
I
it,
found the
Adam.
paper bag.
and
Withdraw.
both of you can
Oh, at the
open
same
your paper
time?
bags.
Okay.
Same time.
Motherfucker.
Come in and carry on.
What exactly do you think I have going on down
No,
south?
wait. What's funny about these is that if you'll notice the back of yours, Darth, has a warning label on it.
This novelty condom is not suitable for contraception
Now,
or protection against STDs. Do not use.
But on Adam's, you'll notice there is no warning label, and
it
it
just says kissy kissy bang bang.
yours actually has very explicit instructions on how to use a condom.
Well, you got to start with one and then end with the other. Kissy kissy bang bang.
Yikes.
And so, yes, so those.
Oh,
those
that's
What a
awesome.
wild ride.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jason.
in all seriousness, though, I
Jesus.
did want to get you guys something that wasn't silly.
I think there's actual stuff
Yeah,
that doesn't
so-
belong to us in these.
Oh no, that
Oh, these are
Yeah.
ours too. What?
Oh, lip balm. I love it.
Yeah, there's another sock. Okay.
Well, of course.
Yeah. Well, I
What are,
didn't know.
what are we, animals? Now these
And lip balm and a pen. How lovely.
these are kind of cool. These are actually one for each of you. Those are air raid pennies from
Oh,
Churchill's
awesome.
War Rooms. Those are real pennies. I think they are dated from is it 43?
Yes, 1943.
So those were in circulation during
Awesome.
the dark days.
that is so
of
cool.
The war.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
and
much.
last but not least, because you like pins. and-
I do like
and
pins.
because it was 2 for 1. No, I'm kidding.
You were an actress.
There you go.
Oh, this one. I love
Aw.
So
this. A
the,
Spitfire. It's an actual.
Is this a posy?
it's a poppy.
A
Poppy.
poppy,
Yeah,
okay.
the poppy in Britain.
Oh, poppy pin badge.
Yeah, the poppy is a very, very emotional
Symbolic.
Memorial Day symbol.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's
Well, I didn't know if you were going Black Plague on me or
no,
what.
no,
So,
no, no,
okay.
definitely a poppy. But yeah,
Because Jason goes out of town and
No.
then there's a new
Yeah.
pox in town. So well, I'm just checking.
monkey
But thank you.
you're very welcome.
Aw.
No,
So,
thank
yeah.
you, Jason. That is very, very, very,
Some
very.
of this was incredibly sweet. Some of it was.
I was going everywhere looking for the perfect gift, and
This
I
is
saw.
strawberry flavored, so very sweet.
I think-
Thank
yes,
you. Thank you very much.
And it was actually, they had like 10 of those, so I had to narrow it down and pick which condoms to get. There were several different
Were there any
slogans.
specific reasons behind the choices that you made?
No, it was just a matter of taste and just where the...
I just love that mine says "Want to see Big Ben" on it.
You feel free to regift it.
I don't have any bachelorette parties coming up soon, but my cousin's child's first birthday is soon.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
That
Hey,
is a traditional gift.
Do you
want
to prevent a third child?
Yeah.
You can't with this condom. Do not use. So, okay. Good to know.
So happy
Well, thank
Christmas
you.
to both of
Oh,
you.
thank you.
Happy
You are
Festivus
awesome.
for the rest of us.
All right.
Thanks,
Well, this gives
Jason.
us a foundation and a baseline to work from when we go on vacation, so that we can.
Yes, I
It's
was
just
afraid
the right thing.
the bar might be a little too high, but I see it's perfectly manageable.
I know.
Oh yeah, no,
So we're okay.
the bar is
Phew, we're good.
and I think that's everything that I. Yeah, no more pictures. No more. I won't
So that
bore
was
the
our new
audience with any of
travel
that. Yes,
segment.
that was the travel segment.
Woo!
So, if you guys managed to get arrested, extra points. If you,
In Florida? Oh, God.
If you hit a civilian, it's
Depending on their gender and their age, it could be up to 100 points. If they're in a
Look back at the
wheelchair.
There you
Death Race
go.
2000 episode. will figure-
Exactly. Call back to your very first episode, Mr. Brown.
Good times.
many,
Like
many
And
2
great
years
oldies.
ago.
3
Yeah.
years ago?
3 years ago.
Jeez.
God, was it 3
We've been
years?
together for
Mhm.
3 years.
3 years.
I've been traumatized for that long. There's no going back, hindsighters. We reached the point of no return a long time
Yeah,
ago.
at a certain point, yeah, you just have to barrel through.
I just grit my teeth and think of England.
That's life.
Margaret Thatcher.
Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day. But speaking of travel and all that fun stuff, what is the movie that we're discussing tonight, guys?
It is. Hang on. We are doing a movie based on a book, which is always a recipe for greatness.
For disaster.
It's a movie called The Beach from the year 2000.
Yes.
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio.
I like that pronunciation. I
yeah.
think I'm going to stick to that in the future.
It is. I hated this movie enough that I actually. These aren't notes. These are just smart-ass things.
The diatribe.
I thought of so many smart-ass comments that,
This is his case against
Yeah.
the beach. He prepared for court today.
self-indulgent, narcissistic twaddle. A movie made for screaming adolescent girls who think they're deep. I mean, I've got a lot.
Pertaining
yeah.
particularly, specifically to the movie, not
Yeah.
the book, correct?
Yeah, I am
Okay.
making no statements about the book whatsoever.
Well, and that's interesting because Danny Boyle was the person who adapted the screenplay. And he's, of Train Spotting fame, A Life Less Ordinary. And Alex Garland, the actual writer of the book, did not help him adapt this, but helped him adapt 28 Days Later. So they've worked together quite a bit.
28 Days Later is such a fucking awful movie.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
So apparently it's a trend when it comes to Jason and Danny Boyle movies.
No, I mean, Life Less Ordinary is really good.
That's a great movie.
Yeah, Life Less Ordinary is
with
very good.
Cameron Diaz and Ewan McGregor.
Train Spotting is the movie that
I've never actually seen it.
I wish that I could remove everything I've ever heard about Train Spotting from my brain and just watch it.
I haven't heard enough that I think I could watch it and possibly form my own opinion about it, whether or not it's good or
overhyped.
bad.
Yeah, it's so overhyped that I could never be fair to it.
The good thing is that I don't know anything about it.
And I never
so-
saw the sequel, so.
Yeah, I didn't even know there was a sequel until I was watching Ewan McGregor doing one of those puppy interviews where he plays with puppies and tries to answer questions simultaneously. And he mentioned that there was a sequel to Train Spotting, and I was like, oh,
So we can see your face.
hi.
There you go.
You guys forget what I look like?
She's got lips.
Well, I get yelled at for not talking into my mic enough, so I have to make sure I'm
Yes,
right
I
in the
frequently
mic.
yell. Yes.
hi, everybody. But yeah, so we're watching The Beach, and the synopsis of that, I have two for comedic effect. The bad synopsis is from Google is this: young people seek Nirvana on an island off the coast of Thailand, only to discover it is not what it seems.
Yeah, surprise, surprise, surprise.
What a synopsis. The decent one is this. Richard, a young man, travels to Thailand and finds himself in possession of an odd map which is rumored to lead to an island paradise. Accompanied by a few friends, he sets out to find it. That's the bare bones of the
Yeah.
story. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
I mean, that really is. It's a, let's be honest, it's a movie that is 2 years after Titanic.
Leo's got all the heat.
Yes.
This is the first big movie. He was in a Woody Allen. He made an appearance in a Woody Allen project, but this was the first movie he did after Titanic.
Yeah, it was like
really.
2 years. It was like a 2 year break.
Yeah, because
I mean, why
Titanic
why
came
the
out.
fuck did he need to work again?
Yeah, Titanic came out in ~97, but I mean, he's one of the most renowned actors in the world these days and highly paid too. So.
And there's Framboise.
Hello.
I mean, the most obvious they're gonna fuck
Just like
moment in history.
Like the Pele of.
I mean, the poor French dude she's with, really,
Etienne.
yeah, which is such a lovely name, but it's French for Steve.
Is that right?
Yeah, it is. So it's like Etienne. Shut up, Steve.
Like Jose. It's just like, what up, Joe?
Yeah.
Makes me think of Entenmann's.
Yeah.
Etienne.
Okay, so you have the three main characters, Richard, and the first main difference that has to be pointed out is that Richard in the book is English. In the movie, of course, he's American, and I feel the need to start quoting Eddie Izzard and how Americans, we run the movie industry, so everything's American or from the American point of view.
Except the bad guys.
Except the bad guys who are British, like in Star Wars, where the doors are going, Chicago.
Well, but the bad guy in this movie is Lou Diamond Phillips, so...
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Tell me it isn't Lou Diamond Phillips.
I think he would find that funny.
Actually, he's, in my opinion, he was the best character in the entire movie.
The drug lord?
I was totally on. He's a farmer, and
He's a drug farmer.
He is sending money to his family. Okay,
that's true. He is.
Yeah.
Okay, we haven't gotten to it yet. So,
but is Bangkok really like that, or did they darken it up?
Because
I know one night in Bangkok makes a hard man.
That's
humble.
true. Yeah, that is true.
I don't know. I asked Josh a bunch
I get my
about
kicks
this.
above the waist, sunshine.
I asked Josh a bunch about it, and I think he agrees with your assessment, Jason. The movie portrays Bangkok as a bit dirtier and overly traveled than it really might be.
Well, apparently it was considered blasphemous to have that, to portray the statue of the Buddha that close to a bar. And they were like, that would not happen. And,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, because that's a big no-no. I think it's the movie.
That close, like physically, or that close within the span of time, like cutting. Oh, okay, physically.
Yeah, right next to it.
Okay.
It's ironic because I think the whole movie, which is sort of like about these Westerners, like I want to see the real, I want authentic.
I want to experience the great unknown. Yeah.
But because it's basically an American movie, we're just going to make Bangkok look shitty because Westerners don't know what it looks like. So we're going to pile crap on it and then make the beach look so much better.
Well, the juxtaposition is important though, because the beach is the paradise. It's what everybody wants to attain when they travel. And the book does a better job describing how, everywhere. Thailand wasn't really that bad. It's just that the parasitic ways of people, they go to Koh Samui, and then Koh Samui sucks because everybody's overrun it and sucked it dry, and it's not as beautiful as it used to be. So they go to the next island over and just continue to ruin everything. Even Daffy, one of the quintessential characters who barely shows up in the movie, he calls everybody parasites in the beginning. And Daffy's important because Richard lands on he goes to the Khao San Road in Bangkok, and he runs into Etienne and Francoise, who are having loud sex next to him. There's like a slew of rooms, and Daffy has one of the rooms. He's this Scottish guy. And he's talking about a beach, and he just bangs on Richard's wall because they share a wall in the little house that they're sharing, and he just starts describing the paradise of the beach, and he's just telling Richard it was the most beautiful place, and we ruined it, and I was telling everybody that you have to leave, you got to leave to make it better, and there were people there and they wouldn't leave, and so Daffy's left, but he seems kind of off his rocker, and even Richard says, "Hey, no offense, you're kind of fucked in the head, right?" And
yeah, Daffy is.
Yeah, Daffy certainly is. But so Richard can't take him too seriously. They're sharing a joint. And the next day, you find that Daffy has committed suicide, but he's left Richard a map with a guide to how to get to this paradise of the beach.
Which makes
the beach
no sense whatsoever. Oh, you've got to leave to make it better. You're going to ruin this place. I'm going to kill myself. Here, go there. Why? Why does he want Richard to go there?
Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of questions about that because
he's fucked in the head.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
He's not making any logical sense.
Well,
and then Richard just decides, I'm going to go ahead and copy the map. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
For no fucking reason. Well, we
he
need,
sort of explains it.
Yeah, it's more
better
like we
explained
need
in the
an
book,
act
but
3.
He does explain it in the movie and the book, but there's so many differences and a lot of big key differences that really change not only what happens in the story, but a lot of heavy consequences change because of these like artistic changes that they made. Not even artistic, just some of the story changes that they made. Like, and that's why my notes took a bit of a different shape than they normally do, because I broke it down between the different characters of Daffy, who in the book, he's such a bigger character in the book, even though he's never actually there past the first time you see him. So you see him in his first interaction with Richard. And this is important because in the book is so well written. It's especially since it was Alex Garland's first book. It was just an accomplishment that, most writers just dream of. But Daffy appears that one time, and then every other time Daffy makes an appearance in the book, it's in Richard's head, whether it's in his dreams. So it starts out as Richard's subconscious dreams about Daffy because he's kind of scarred by Daffy's suicide and coming upon his dead body.
Yeah, that'll do it to you.
Yeah, it's shocking. But then, so he sees Daffy in his dreams on a regular basis, but then he starts sneaking into Richard's conscious mind, and Richard starts hallucinating Daffy and actually interacting with him in his hallucinations. And the book is so well written that the reader almost doesn't notice that Daffy's such a fixture that they're like, oh, wait, this guy's kind of losing his fucking mind. So, okay.
Yeah, because the character of Richard does go insane, but
in both cases,
and in the movie though, it's very much like somebody just flips a switch to crazy and then flips the switch back to sane again.
Well, you and I were talking about this off camera, so I think the important question is what really puts Richard over the edge. And in the movie, I think it's a very clear message. So Sal, who's the unofficial leader of the beach, once they do find it, she banishes Richard to what they call the Hill. So that because he does make a copy of the map, like you said, before they get to the beach, Jason, for these guys, Zeph and Sammy. And he kind of does it in the book because he's like, well, we are just trusting this kind of crackhead who left us a map. And what if we get lost or hurt or something? At least somebody will know where we are. Whereas in the movie, he's just like, oh, I was shit scared of the great unknown, so I left him a map, and that was the reasoning behind it. But Sal banishes Richard once she finds out that, he told these two new guys about the beach paradise, and he made a map, and he lied about making the map. So Sal is pissed enough to banish him to like do observance detail where he's got to keep an eye out for the guys for when they actually come to the island, because they park on an island next to it, and Richard just has to sit there waiting for them.
Yeah.
And so
Sal,
I think
Sal, played by Tilda Swinton.
Oh my God.
And she has a very odd way of punishing him, because she sort of makes it like when they go on the rice run, because they're on a beach, they're in this perfect nirvana, except for the fact that they've got to buy shit all the time.
Not all the time, but keep going with your
Well,
thought.
I mean, the rice, the rice got in,
It gets a fungus
in it. So, oh my God, how many times is this going to happen?
Well, and they even say that. Somebody was like, God, again? Or something to that effect. It's like
a clever dick would probably figure out a way of keeping the rice from getting the fungus, but that's just me.
Well, it is Thailand. Isn't it a very humid country? Like, that's
wet.
And you don't have like indoor proper storage for it, so it's tough to keep it dry.
And they are on a fucking beach, which, to me, as somebody who doesn't really like the beach that much, it's like, oh, let's go to this paradise. And it's like, well, wait, there's no toilets, there's no showers, I'm on the fucking beach, there's sand everywhere.
Yeah, when you think about it, even in the book, it's like, okay.
I get it that there's a lot of pot, but there are other places you can get a lot. How much pot can you smoke
to make it that awesome? Like, because at the end of the day, like you said, there's no indoor plumbing, there's no air conditioning, there's none of the like what everybody just basic luxuries that we're all accustomed to.
I enjoy my current domicile. Thank you very much.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Well, and as much as you hate the show, Jason, Sheldon's got a great quote about this on The Big Bang Theory, where it's like, oh yeah, everybody likes going to the great outdoors, Sheldon. Well, then why has mankind spent the last several thousand years perfecting the indoors? I'm badly paraphrasing, but that's
absolutely true. Yes.
He's like, no, I don't want to go outside. No thanks.
Yeah, I mean, it's like going outside's great and all, and living in nature, whatever, sounds great until the reality
Until
of
the mosquitoes come.
Yeah, the mosquitoes,
Oh, God. I can't even
sharks. Which how was that?
Ugh.
How is this the first time anyone's ever been killed by a shark? This is.
They encounter them a lot, but they don't acknowledge it much in the movie because Richard asks about that in the book when they get to the lagoon. Because for those of you who aren't familiar with the book or the movie, hindsighters, the beach is on this island that the beach goers share with drug farmers. The drug farmers actually came to the island after the beachgoers, but they kind of share the island peacefully as long as the beachers don't go over to the drug side, and they don't invite any more people. Now, that was not really a strict agreement in the book, but they really punch it hard in the movie, as if the drug dealers are like, hey, or drug farmers are saying, hey, no more people, no matter what, or they're going to be violent consequences.
Yeah, and I kept wondering, what did the drug dealers, farmers, what did they get out of this deal? Because it's we have this illegal crop.
We don't tell on you.
And also, by the way, in Thailand, I believe I'm correct on this. I know this is the case in the Philippines, but I'm pretty sure it's the same way in Thailand. If you get caught with drugs...
Oh, it's an incredibly...
It's like a fucking death sentence. They will kill your fucking ass.
Well, to that end, toward the end of the book, a character who's much more minor, I think her name is Cassie, she gets busted smuggling at the end, and Richard sees her parents on the news, just beseeching the Thai government to release her and be like, hey, we'll take custody of her, sorry, send her back to us. And he was like, nah, she'll be dead in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge deal.
Yeah, they will kill your ass.
And
so if you're a drug farmer, you're thinking, okay,
the beachers don't tell on you and give away your location, so it's mutually beneficial for everybody to keep the island a secret.
Or I could kill them.
Yeah. But the thing is,
the
problem though is that the beach is not a secret. Everybody treats it like it's this massive secret, which it's a really well kept one considering there are only about 20 people there, 20 to 30 people in all the world, because there are people from Sweden, there are people from England, America, France, they're from all over the world. So I'd say that's a pretty well-kept secret considering.
It is.
And the drug dealers, farmers, actually, they don't quibble as long as there's not just a massive influx of people
They're
there
very reasonable.
Yeah, they're just sending,
just trying to make a living.
Yeah, send some money home to their families.
Illegal living.
But
and then Google Earth was invented.
Yeah,
and
right?
The whole thing fell apart.
Yeah, this is 1999. Aren't they going to be crushed in the next couple of years with this technology?
I was going to ask you that. Okay, the movie versus the book. What year do the events that we see take place in the book versus in the movie? Because are they different?
They're not hard and fast defined. So, the way, from context in the book, I figured that Richard... He was born in 1976, so you know that. Same year as Leo DiCaprio, so that's actually part of the IMDb trivia of the movie.
74.
74? Okay, sorry.
I think that's, I can be wrong.
I can look it up, but
it doesn't matter.
Either way, born in the 70s, so the thing is, Richard's really into video games and Vietnam. Those are two of his main hobbies in the book, and that doesn't really come up much in either case in the movie. And that's actually kind of important because if you understood Richard's mindset of how much video games have shaped it, a lot of the little one-off bits in the movie would make more sense. For instance, all Keaty does in the movie is throw a comment at Richard saying oh, look at your thumbs, mate. They're well defined. You play a lot of video games.
Which, by the way, you can so tell that this book was written by somebody who's never played a video game or known anyone who has, because our thumbs are basically the same as yours.
Yeah. And
I play a lot of video games.
But in the book, Keaty is also a gamer. He has a Nintendo Game Boy that he and Richard share on a regular basis because they're both obsessed with video games. And there's a character that's
he should have had the Virtual Boy.
There's a character that's totally left out of the movie. His name is Jed, and he's important because there are all these different details on the island. There's gardening, fishing, carpentry, cooking, laundry, and then
human resources.
Yes. And Jed is the one who does observation
IT.
Detail.
It's the professor from Gilligan's Island.
Have you tried turning the coconut on and off again? The coconut radio. But yeah, Jed is the observation detail because they do occasionally have people, despite the well-kept secret, people come to the beach because word spreads. And Jed keeps an eye on that. So even when Richard and Francoise and Etienne first show up, Jed's the one who... Jed sees them and he's like, all right, I got to bring you to Sal. You have to talk to her. She's the leader. But the video game, so Jed walks through the forest really quietly and Richard's like, oh. And he walks you through this line of thinking in the book, which is really helpful. He you hear him sort of thinking where he's like, oh, Jed walks with his heel down first and then presses his foot down slowly, as opposed to like in cartoons where we tiptoe like on Scooby-Doo. So I started doing that, and I made it a game in my head to where I had to walk as silently as possible. If I like cracked a twig or something, I lost a life, and I gave myself 3 lives like in Mario. If I saw, or if an animal saw me before I saw it, I lost a life. And you understand the parameters of his lines of thinking a lot more clearly. Whereas in the movie, Leo just falls off a metaphorical cliff and goes fucking batshit insane for no reason, and then he's just running through the jungle, and he looks like Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo.
That's what it was based on.
Yeah, and it's so silly in the movie. And you can tell in the book it wasn't silly, but in the movie it comes across so ridiculous.
It was silly.
There's even another instance where he's trying to make the perfect footprint. He's like, I was walking along the shore, and if you go too deep toward the water, like, you know, your footprint gets ruined right away. If you're too up in the dry sand, then, you know, it's just powder and it crumbles. You got to find that perfect middle ground. And so he's always playing some sort of game to occupy his mind, because that's, you know, somebody who's used to video games and lights and distractions the way most people in civilization are. You see how a person like that adapts to the quiet of living in an environment like the beach, where there's not all this distraction all the time.
Yeah. I kind of wanted
so
Les
much more
Stroud
sense.
to show up and just be filming a Survivor Man episode.
David Attenborough.
Actually, it is. I did want to mention the name of the character who made the thumbs comment.
Keaty.
TT.
Played by, and his name is either Paterson or Patterson Joseph. I don't know how he pronounces his first name, but it was so interesting seeing him in this movie, because I've seen him a 1,000 times, but it's always been in a comedic role.
He's not even like listed as the main people. He's not even on the.
Oh, that's a shame.
Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, he's done a lot of work with Mitchell and Webb, Robert Webb and David Mitchell, different, no relation. He was in Peep Show, and so it was really cool seeing. As I love it when you see a really good comedic actor in a dramatic role and they nail it, and you just think, comedic actors are really the best actors in the world.
Well, I mean, case in point, who was it? Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, started
that was
out
always
as,
a serious
always
actor,
a serious
and then
guy,
he was discovered for his comedy later on down the road.
Yeah, or I mean, Jerry Lewis. You know, the movie that no one has ever seen. God,
and no one can name.
No, the one about the clown in the concentration camp.
No, now I can't think of it either.
See, yeah,
I gotta look it up. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But it's that
though.
thing where it's like you think Jerry Lewis, he's a comedic actor, and then you something like that where it's literally just overwhelming, and But anyway, it was very cool to see him in this movie. I'm trying to think of other actors that Tilda Swinton. Obviously, we know Tilda Swinton. She's been in so much.
Very well known. Yeah.
Yeah, there aren't any other really big headlining kind of names in this movie.
No.
The Day the Clown Cried.
That's it.
That's the movie.
Cried, yeah.
1972 Swedish French drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got the other actors, and so it's...
Francoise, she's played by something Le Doyen.
I'll find it in my
Where
dark
do they
notes.
find these people?
Well, she is. I don't know what she was doing before, but I know that she's. What
Her first name is interesting.
is it? Oh, Virginie.
Yeah.
Virginie.
Le Doyen.
And then Etienne is Guillaume Canet.
Yeah, and I don't know him,
Canet.
but I know that she's done a lot of stuff in France. So she's.
So is he. I was actually looking him up. I couldn't name the projects because I haven't seen most of them, but they're both like successful working actors. Yeah.
And you can tell they're both really, really talented. And Leo, it's so interesting because for me, this movie, and we need to take a break soon.
Okay.
But I think this is sort of a transition movie for Leo because before this, it was young heartthrob Leo.
Well, and it was like Gilbert Grape and like his heartthrob teeny bopper television shows that he was on, and then Titanic. Yeah.
When was The Man in the Iron Mask?
Oh, that was
90...
like that wasn't much longer. Early.
I'm
gonna guess, and I'm gonna guess at 96. I want to see how wrong I am.
98.
98. All right, that was close. But
so then wait, no, then that fact I shared from IMDb can't be right because Titanic came out in 97, and then he wouldn't have skipped 2 years of doing a movie because this came out. Beach came out in 2000.
Unless he filmed Man in the Iron Mask first. And
just because it came out in 98. Yeah.
Yeah, they might have held it up.
Good point. But make your point
yeah,
about
but
Leo.
it's sort of a transition role for him because he's going from the young heartthrob actor to the really incredibly talented actor that we think of today. And he is.
Because he had a ton of stuff under his belt already, like the Basketball Diaries, and he had done other movies. But you're right, this was a
Romeo
hard
and Juliet.
left. Yeah, Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah.
This was a hard left style-wise. And it would have fit, I think, the actor that Danny Boyle wanted to play the part. Do either of you know who that was?
I'm gonna go out on a limb since it's Danny Boyle. And I think you're setting me up, and I think it's Ewan McGregor.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that was a bit of a rift between the two of them because it sounded like Ewan McGregor felt a little betrayed afterwards because the studio, I think, went ahead with Leo because he had the juice. And then, so I don't think Ewan and Danny talked for a really long time afterward. And even he said something like in an interview saying he felt betrayed by that.
Well, I was going to guess Peter Boyle, but I didn't think that was a good
Peter Boyle.
Willem Dafoe. He would have done so well in this. But yeah, so on that bombshell of a note, let's take a quick break.
All right.
We will be back in about 1 second. And we're back.
Hi.
Hey, hello.
Hello, monkey.
Hello, monkey.
Hola, mono.
We're now in
Aw.
a marijuana field.
Yes.
He's not as cute as Munch.
No, God, no.
Nobody's
no.
as cute as Munch.
Munch is our new official mascot.
Yes, he's our little bunny friend.
You're gonna have to put some pictures on Instagram so that people know.
Oh yeah, I will share Munch on our Instagram account. For
Not
sure.
literally share Munch.
I will share pictures
yeah,
of our
photos.
bunny friend,
Yes.
whom I named Munch because he's this little bunny that sits outside of mine and Jason's office, and his little mouth is constantly
just
going.
chews
He's
and
chewing on
chews.
seeds and such, and so I named him Munch.
By the way, actually rewatching this scene where they've gotten to the island and discovered the marijuana fields.
The farmers.
I am actually actively now rooting for the farmers.
Well, not against these three. I kind of like Francoise and Etienne.
Francois okay.
Etienne, well, that's the thing.
Etienne's such a pussy.
He's
So-
a putz.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
not nice. He's a good guy. Like he doesn't want to fight or cause waves for anybody. Like
He would not be a Top Gun. And we'll leave it at that.
No.
He'd
He
be a
doesn't-
bottom gun.
he doesn't
he's no
belong in the
hangman.
danger zone. Well, no, Etienne
You
is
guys
actually.
keep talking. I got to adjust my cameras.
All right,
Okay.
go adjust your camera. I think we need to pause for a moment because it is timely to say that we went on a business trip last weekend and saw the sequel.
Yes,
to Top
we
Gun
did.
Maverick.
And it was better than I would have
we
expected it
recommend
to
it
be.
to every listener. All three of you out there, go see Top Gun.
If you like, Tiny Tom Cruise,
Oh,
and you like mustaches, and Jason's
And
girl is in
beards.
it,
his
Jessica
girlfriend, a
Connelly.
beard.
Jennifer Connelly. What
Jennifer
did I say?
Connelly.
Jessica?
You said
I'm sorry.
Jessica. That's Jessica Biel.
Jennifer Connelly. I
Jennifer
apologize.
Connelly. Yeah.
She gets tagged by Tiny Tom Cruise. Though.
Oh, we don't know that for sure. And
Yes, we do.
And there's a reason that
I actually liked that whole how they did that because I was expecting blue jean sex. Because it's Top Gun, in the 80s. That's how when I was a kid,
It's
I just
not
thought.
the 80s anymore, though.
And I learned that in watching this movie.
They pick it up 34 years later.
I actually like the way. Now we're talking about a much better movie now. I actually really liked the way in that they did the relationship between Maverick and Penny
yeah.
because it was very much like.
So Jennifer Connelly. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very much like, okay, this is sort of how it would work in an idealized two grown people who one's got a kid now, the other one, but they do like each other, and
He keeps like going off on a mission and like she can never rely on him ever, but then he's finally back
Yeah,
and it looks like they might finally get together.
it was.
Do they? Tune in and find out. No spoilers.
Yeah,
No.
God knows we've never spoiled anything on this show.
Not new movie.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, so it's actually it was a fun, very cool movie. I would say it was better than the first one because rewatching the first one, it's so cheesy and kind of silly. I think the second one is more substantial. How about that?
I actually kind of have that thought myself. I'm kind of inclined, and it's heresy, I know, but I kind of feel like it was better.
There's a better storyline. Like the
Yeah.
first one, there's not much of a plot.
Well,
Like,
the first one is all Top Gun.
right.
yeah.
It's literally the school.
Yes.
And then the stuff with Goose. And I kind of liked how the sort of inflection point of this wasn't, nobody died. I mean, okay, well, let's
Let's move on.
Yes, let's do it.
But go see it if you haven't yet,
Please see
Hindsighters. It was actually really good. We went on an adventure together and saw it as a group, so that was cool.
And I will see it again.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
But no, but first we've got to see Bob's Burgers.
Oh, yes.
All
I'll see
right.
Bob's Burgers before I see tea.
Adam tried to get out of watching it with us, and that's just not going to happen.
He's
is it,
literally
Jason?
fleeing the country.
I am leaving the United States to avoid Bob's Burgers, but they're waiting for me to come back.
No.
Yeah, he's
We're
going,
gonna-
I lost my passport. I can't come home.
We're going to sit on either side of you in the theaters so you can't escape.
We will go to Costa Rica.
And drag my ass
Yeah.
back.
That is where you're going, right?
It
Because
is.
I'd hate to book that flight. and
What
then
was
get
the
there and-
origin? What was
It
the
is.
original reason you went to Costa Rica?
Dinosaurs, right?
Yeah, something like that.
I like dinosaurs. And I like monos, little monkeys,
Mono.
howlers.
Yeah, there was no drug monkey in the book.
No,
I can tell you.
no.
So the farmers do have an alert monkey for when people roam into their fields, I guess. So,
Again, they're my favorite characters.
hey, they're the most practical.
Yeah.
But so the threesome makes it to the beach. They get, the shit scared out of them when they discover that this paradise of an island is, in fact, a huge drug farm. And they get chased by men with guns, and that's
Kate
incredibly...
Moss's Delicatessen.
What?
Kate Moss's Delicatessen. That's what the guys on Grand Tour call Columbia.
Oh, I was about to
okay.
say I'm whoosh, missed whatever joke that was. But so they do make it to the beach. Richard, Etienne, and Francoise make it. They jump off this waterfall, and that's another difference, a big difference from the book, is that Richard's actually the first one to go off the edge of the waterfall because he just gets in sort of like a fuck it. We've been chased by drug farmers. We've gone through all of this. Fuck it. So he goes off the edge of the waterfall, not knowing how deep or shallow the water might be. And it's a big deal. And Francois stays at the top with Etienne because he is a little soft, like you guys were saying, and it takes him some coaxing to jump off the waterfall. But of course, in the movie, they have to give the girl the badass moment where she's just like, "We can jump," and she just jumps off the
Girl
waterfall.
power!
Yay!
Yeah.
Well, that was kind of the pivot point,
Yeah.
to when
Pivot.
women now rule the world.
When they
Just now, huh?
Yeah, from a sort of like a set decorating or production design standpoint, it is interesting. Like they have built a beach resort.
Yeah.
Like the structure they live in is this very, very nice, well made.
Very.
Yeah, they have an on-island carpenter.
They got one
Bugs.
guy, yeah.
Well, they have a detail. So Bugs teaches people how to, help build things too. So it's not just him building all this by himself. But so one thing to point out is some of the relationships and dynamics that we have on the beach, which Sal, so Tilda Swinton is the unofficial leader, and her boyfriend Bugs. And then you have Daffy, who was the Scottish guy that Richard ran into on the Khao San Road. And they're all obviously, Looney Tunes nicknames that they have. Her name is short for Sylvester, like the cat.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, they're all Looney Tunes.
Got it.
Bugs is a dick. That's important to note. But
That's Sal's boy.
Sal's boyfriend, the carpenter. And I would say that they kept his character consistent between book and movie, but there's not as much just outright contention between him and Richard in the book. Richard's just like, I don't know, he rubs me the wrong way. He's just kind of a condescending dick, And Bugs is just that. Like, they point that out pretty aggressively in the movie, where Bugs is just literally talking down to Richard from a perch where he's hammering on something, and he's like, Richard, can you even do this? Every man should have a talent in his hands, and he's just putting Richard down for not being more, outdoorsy and butch, I guess. But
Yeah, he's kind of a dick.
no, he's definitely a dick. But we get to the
And a
beach.
Well, he is. He's a cuck.
I thought he was a Kiwi.
Very good.
He was a Kiwi cuck.
Anyway, we get to the Moby moment. Because that's the song that's
Yeah,
playing
oh,
right now.
yeah,
Moby
yeah.
music. Are
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Moby?
Oh, and also, did you notice that the one of the mountains in that shot was a computer-generated mountain?
I
All
did
of it
not
is
notice.
because there aren't any mountains on the actual beach that
I
exists.
thought it was like partial, and then they closed it up.
They said in the IMDb
My
notes,
exposure's all screwed up again.
because I actually asked Josh. He's been to this beach in real life in
He's
Koh
been to
Samui.
that beach?
He has.
Damn, Josh.
He's been to Koh Samui, and so I asked him when we first rewatched this. Because he'd never seen it before, but I was like, "Hey, I need you to pay attention. Look up from your video game. Is it really this beautiful, or did they just generate that?" He goes, "No, it's actually that freaking breathtaking."
But
It's
is
a
it like
beautiful
really
beach.
crowded?
No, because it's a national park.
Oh.
Well,
just like they say in the movie. And there are lots of problems
Tell the
with
ladies
that.
and gentlemen why it's a national park now.
Okay, so, and this is a bit long-winded, so hang in there. I'll try to shorten it up. But basically, the island was initially chosen by location scouts from Fox Studios, not because of its astounding natural beauty, but because of its potential for landscaping redevelopment. So, like, the script called for a clearing on the beach large enough to play football, or as us Americans say, soccer. So they bulldozed, like, a large portion of it, including, like, native trees and vegetation. They planted 100 non-native palm trees just to get the aesthetic of it right. And, you know, that introduces an exotic species to the island that could take over and effectively change the habitat forever. But the big issue there was also, like, while the whole thing was, it was an eyesore for the locals, so that's a problem. And the real damage didn't come, though, until the filmmakers left the island. The usual seasonal storms hit the beach, but this time the sand dunes didn't have the protection of their natural vegetation, so they collapsed immediately and washed out to sea, which damaged a bunch of the fragile coral reef on the way out.
All because of this damn movie?
Yeah, and environmentalists were pissed. They accused the filmmakers of bribing the Thai government to get around legal requirements.
As they do.
Like the National Park Act, it was specifically designed to prevent this exact kind of thing from happening. Allegedly, Fox donated the equivalent of $100,000 to the Royal Forestry Development in Thailand, where the normal fee for filming on the island is like less than 1% of that. Afterwards, they were allowed pretty much the freedom to remodel however they chose as soon as the money changed hands.
Yeah,
so people were super pissed, and environmentalists responded by taking legal action against Fox.
Wow.
The local coordinator and the Thai government officials, like 7 years later, the court penalized the film company for unnecessary ecological destruction, ordered them to repair all environmental damage to Maya Beach, which is much more than just planting a few trees. They were expected to rebuild the marine life population that was wiped out.
Yeah, because
it was a huge deal.
I mean, you know, taking out a reef in that neck of the world to make a movie, it's pretty low.
Yeah,
You know, and it's not like the movie made any fucking money.
No, especially. Oh, you'd be surprised with the budget for it. But to get back to the point a second ago, so the actual beach is not totally surrounded and enclosed by mountains, hiding it from the sea. In fact, there is a large gap between two gigantic boulders, and the editors of the film superimposed a fake mountain in post-production.
Okay.
But
all right.
so do you know what the budget was for this movie?
$50 million.
Well, 20 of it went to Leo.
Yes.
Yeah. So it was 50?
Yes, it was 50.
Because
Which is nothing to shake a stick at, considering they don't have like choppers and a bunch of crazy, you know, technology or machinery going on. It's a lot of people. They had to build like the huts and stuff, like the actual resort itself, I'm assuming, the sets.
Yeah,
but
that is true. I mean, 30 mil.
30 mil is high for what you get out of this movie.
Yeah, that is true. Well, but you don't know, like, you know, does that include the marketing costs? Does that include
the travel for the crew and because apparently at some point there was like a pretty bad boat crash, including Danny Boyle and Leo DiCaprio. Nobody got injured, but it was a pretty severe thing. It's
shots like this with the three Swedes,
and they
who were actually from like Finland, I think. But
one of them, the one who plays Carl, is from Finland, and he actually speaks with a Finnish accent.
Yeah, it's really just they all of a sudden will have this like sort of Wes Anderson-y kind of shot that doesn't fit with the rest of the movie and doesn't work.
Well, the Swedes
I'd like to have seen Wes Anderson make this movie.
The Swedes are another piece that was just not included to the proportion that it should have been, because one of the reviews on the jacket of the copy of the book that I have by Alex Garland, The Beach, is that it's basically Lord of the Flies for Generation X.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
It does, because it fleshes out more of the characters, which every book does. But the point of it is that, like, it's the lack of morals and the fact that in order to, you know, preserve this perfect little paradise that they have, they're willing to make these horrendous sacrifices, even when it comes to the other beachers.
Yeah.
They literally commit murder to protect their secret.
And it's even worse in the book. So, like, the Swedes are a huge piece of that puzzle, meaning, and like Carl, the one who talks, the only one who speaks like decent English of the three Swedes, you have Carl, Sten, and Christo. So and in the book it makes more sense because in the lagoon they have like little reef sharks, and Richard even gets sort of sort of attacked by one. In the book, it's not nearly as dramatic, but Richard kills one during like a rainy week where they have a really hard time fishing, and he's kind of the hero of the camp because he feeds everybody with like a 5-foot shark, and that's pretty cool. And he makes a much bigger deal about killing it.
They should invest in a net.
You would think that they could,
because you can, even if it's raining, you can still fish with a net.
You can. They spearfish. So yeah, they sort of tie their hands.
Yeah,
with
when
that.
you go back, get me a fucking rod and reel.
Yes. Well, the Swedes in the book, they actually fish out in the open ocean because to do the rice run and get the supplies on occasion, they do actually have a functioning boat that they take back to Copenhagen. And so the Swedes actually use the boat on an everyday basis and go out into the open water, and they get attacked by a much larger shark. And that happens book and movie alike, and it's much more, it's so sad and like more traumatic in the book because Carl is the only one who survives. So you come back with Sten, dies immediately because he has the worst wounds. He gets bitten along his side, and like a huge hunk of his leg gets taken off by the shark, so he dies right away. Christo's leg gets severely injured, and then he, just like in the movie, he sits there suffering while he gets like gangrene and gets an infection, and he's got internal bleeding, and so Richard, spoiler alert, eventually has to put him out of his misery. And Carl actually goes insane. So in the movie, they just forget about him after he's translating because... Yeah. And this is something that's really different in the movie, too. They're so strict about not letting anybody go back to the mainland under any circumstances. You could have a tooth that's rotting in your mouth. They won't let you go back to see a dentist. They sort of
Fuck this place. Fuck these people.
It's horrible.
Yeah. I like my living room better.
Yeah, so do I.
With a remote control.
I'm going to go sit on my toilet, and I'm going to use my phone to turn the air conditioner down.
But everybody can do that, Jason. It's all about
weed,
the great
man.
unknown.
Yeah, there's weed in your house.
Yeah. See, guys, I've got bad news for you.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it's all a bunch of 20-somethings trying to experience something new and pure, the likes of which nobody else has experienced.
And all the guns are mine.
Yeah.
My house is awesome.
Well, you have guns because none of the beachers have proper weapons. The only people with guns on the island are the farmers. So
now I'm curious if they did a deleted scene where they showed how Francoise keeps her hair so good.
All the women, like,
because let's be honest. I mean, look at Leo's hair. What is he using? Coconut stuff?
Well, they show that on the rice run because everybody's giving him like their grocery list. Where one of them's like, I need makeup remover, I need lip balm, I need this balm, I need lotion, I need that. So they all have
Not
supplies.
one of them said preparation age.
They mentioned condoms and like tampons, so it's pretty necessary.
It's like Peter Griffin on the.
They have condoms that actually work on the beach, unlike this that I've got in my
Virgin
bag.
Atlantic does in no way endorse these condoms. By the way, I just want to be very clear on that.
Oh,
Hence
God.
the name Virgin Atlantic.
Wah, wah. But yeah, so I don't remember in the book there being this severe of a rule because they didn't have the person with like the toothache. He's suffering and his tooth is rotting, and Sal won't let him go see a dentist. And the thing is, in the book, when Christo's leg is rotting and, he needs to see a doctor, they kind of won't let him go back because they're afraid in his delirium he's going to tell about the beach. Yeah. So that I understood a little bit better, but they give him the option. They're like, yes, you can go to the mainland, you can go to the beach or go off the beach and get help, but you can't tell anybody where this happened. And he's like, no, I won't go near the water. I'm scared because he got attacked by a shark.
Yeah, which is... Okay.
It's like, dude, they're going to take you in a boat.
Yeah.
You're not swimming back to Copenhagen.
And also, it's perfectly understandable that you might, at some point in your life, deal with somebody who suffered some kind of an injury and is being totally whacked out. That happens.
Yeah.
In scuba training, they train you on what to do when somebody's having something, and they actually teach you how to get behind somebody and grab them and like inflate. It's a thing. You don't just let the guy go, oh, you don't want to go to the water? Well, okay.
I guess that's your choice.
But the moment when they determine that their secret is so important that they're going to let him die, because at a certain point he can't fight back. He's too sick. He can't stop them from putting him on a boat, going to a doctor. So they've now made the decision, we're not going to take him.
Well, they basically do the bare minimum. They're almost like kids, like in Lord of the Flies. They're like, well, he said no, so it's not on us. And there's this horrible scene, and this happens in the book too, where Christo, becomes too much of a burden because he's groaning in pain. And
just because he's complaining.
You hear them, and like his leg is literally slit open, and he's dying, and they're just like, God, Christo, please.
Oh my God, would you totally stop whining about your leg?
Yeah, they're irritated with him, and so they banish him and put him out in a tent on his own in the jungle so they can't hear him moaning in absolute pain.
Yeah.
And Etienne is consistent book to movie that way because he's like, you guys are monsters. You can't do this to him. And he's the one in the book who like campaigns to really take Christo back and get him medical treatment. But the problem with that is that Richard starts going off the deep end more subtly, but he does it a lot earlier when they hit the island. And so he almost becomes Sal's kind of cleaner, like almost her right-hand man for dirty deeds. And he doesn't even realize that's happening because Sal is much better and more subtle at manipulation in the book, as opposed to this whole, oh, hey, Richard, you saw us just yank that guy's tooth out. How do you feel about that? And he's like, no problem over here, boss. And she goes, good answer. And then
how did she get in charge?
She's horrible.
Yeah.
And the rice run, that's a huge difference, too, because Jed, the non-existent character in the movie, is the one who actually goes on the rice run with Richard. And Richard volunteers.
Do they fuck?
No. So Sal strong arms Richard into going on the rice run with her. They have sex, which is important because not only is she with Bugs, in the movie, Richard and Francoise end up together, which does not happen in the book whatsoever.
Oh, really?
No, nothing. Like, there's definitely sexual tension, like, and he's like mooning after her the entire time they're on the beach. Like, he's definitely
underwater is not fun.
Yeah.
I've tried it once.
And I'm expecting like
that's
my
all
heart.
it took, huh?
Yeah. Well, at least this time he's not hanging onto a door in cold ass water.
Yeah.
So he's got that going.
I think
for him.
Francoise would let him share the door, unlike Kate Winslet. You know.
Yeah. Kate, God, man.
He won't answer that question in interviews. Have you ever seen that?
No.
People are like, oh, so points of contention in famous movies. Leo, do you think Jack would have fit on the door? And he's like, I've got nothing to say. He doesn't want to wreck anything, I guess, but he won't
I don't
answer
care
that
if
question.
I was. My ass is on that door.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, for real.
You've already been on top of her once. Just do it again.
Center your gravity, sir.
Yeah. It might be a little awkward when the man from the Times comes by and takes your picture before they rescue you, but you know, I mean, the Daily Mail photographer.
But to go back to that point about Francoise and Richard, no, they never wind up together in any capacity in the book. It's much more like stolen glances on his part and just like being totally obsessed with her the entire time. There's two different instances. One, when they first show up to the beach, Richard, he gets lightheaded and then he gets a fever for a few days, so he kind of misses out on the initiation. And he either dreams, he's not sure if he dreams it, he thinks that Francoise kisses him while he's sick. Oh. And then later, and they skip this too because this was a big turning point for the vibe at the camp. So Kitty, he's been wanting to be on fishing detail. He's in gardening and he finally begs enough to get on the fishing detail, and he accidentally spears a dead squid and gets everybody sick with food poisoning in the camp, and it causes this huge rift between two big groups of the camp, and all this contention happens.
Ooh, do they form alliances?
The tail people and the wing people.
When does the guy in the cargo shorts show up?
Yeah, exactly.
But that's when Bugs and Richard really get their tension out with each other in the book, and it's a huge thing. And Kitty's kind of ostracized because, you know, he's to blame for the food poisoning. But Richard sneaks a kiss off Francoise when she's got a fever, and Etienne sees it, but they don't like
Wait, she got
duke
food
it
poisoning?
out. They all got food poisoning.
So he sneaks a kiss when she's got like diarrhea?
No, she's got like a fever and she's like
She's delirious
quasi.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
she's delirious, and so he kisses her, and Etienne sees it. And then later,
Mon Dieu.
Etienne kind of confronts him, but then he
immediately folds and surrenders.
kind of, yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're not wrong, because he's like, because he wants to believe in Richard, because, you know, he was like, okay, this guy, you know, volunteered the map and brought us to this crazy, awesome place. And he's like, you know what? Sorry, Richard, you're right. We are in this together, the three of us. I'm sure it didn't mean anything. But And then toward the end, when Richard really realizes how off the fucking rails everything is gone, he's like, guys, we've got to get out of here. He's trying to get Jed, Kitty, Etienne, and Francoise off the island back to civilization and sanity. And Francoise, they kind of like dope the food to get everybody whacked out so that they won't notice when they sneak away. And Francoise is just like having it out with Richard finally. She's like, don't you love me, Richard? Don't you love me? I thought you were in love with me. And he's like, we're going to talk about this now. Seriously?
Now? You bring this up now?
But they just make it a relationship in the movie, and that obviously brings about contention when Richard sleeps with Sal on the rice run. So,
and it's like she does that for a little bit of amusement, but more just to have something to hold over his head.
And they try to redeem his character because, yeah, she does it to hold it over his head, but even he was like, yeah, I paid my ticket back to the beach, but I didn't really want to think what the actual price was going to be, like if people found out. Because the really key difference with it when it comes to the map between book and movie is that Jed is the one who finds out, same way Sal does. Like they go on the rice run, they run into Zeph and Sammy again, and they're like, oh, this is the man with the map. And so Jed knows the whole story.
Thailand's such a small place.
Yeah, right?
So
they keep running into the same guy. Well, I guess it just proves that point that everybody's going to the same places and traveling too much there. But Sal finds out that Richard told them about the beach, but he lies to her saying, no, I didn't like make a copy of the map or anything. They don't know how to get there. And so she's doubly pissed later when she finds out that, yeah, he did make a copy and he lied about it. So she tells everybody that they slept together, and she tells everybody that Richard, gave away the secret. And so the entire camp hates him. And Francoise is pissed because he cheated on her.
Him off.
Yeah.
The tribe has spoken.
This shark scene, we got to talk about this. It's so fucking ridiculous.
Woo! Most sharks stabbed in the face.
Yes. It's so dramatic.
Total slam on sharks out of nowhere, too. I feel like the sharks really get
It's just like a little black tip, too. It's not even, it's like a little reef shark.
Yeah, it's not going to attack a human.
No.
Particularly when it's raining that hard and everything is turbulent. They're not going to be able to track down prey.
Well, and I like that all of these guys, like none of them, whenever Richard goes into the water and they're all like waving and screaming and yelling shark, but nobody knows the symbol for shark. like
Finn, dude.
They all know the symbol for
yeah. No, you're fine, dude. Keep going. Totally clear.
They do they do some foreshadowing to the actual shark activity that dooms part of the camp, because Etienne and Francoise do pull that prank on him.
Yeah.
That definitely doesn't happen in the book. When they're swimming to the beach island, Etienne and Francoise, Etienne's like, oh my God, Richard, I saw a fin. And he's like, are you kidding me? I wish you hadn't told me. And they fight in the water.
It had a Wehrmacht uniform on too.
And then Francoise goes under the water and Etienne's like, she was pulled under. Oh my God. And it's this big dramatic tense moment. And then they were fucking with Richard the entire time.
Yeah, that is so across so many fucking lines.
It really is.
Yeah, no, not cool.
Like if we were swimming to an island, guys, I wouldn't do that to you.
No,
That's just mean.
Because you're just asking for trouble when you do something like that.
God's upstairs going, what?
Okay.
Okay.
Bring in the great white.
Yeah.
I mean, he's right over there. I was going to have him swim right past you, but now, you prick.
Yeah.
Guess what? But they do have this point of contention with Bugs, because it's a little more friendly in the book, because Bugs doesn't do this like thumping on his chest and, well, Richard, when it's a 12-foot great white and it's an angry mama shark, he doesn't do all that. He tries to go up to Richard and kind of talk to him when he's stoned with his friends and say, hey, Richard, I caught a shark too once. It was like a 12-foot tiger, and he's trying to tell him about it. He's not showing off. But Richard's like, I kind of fucked up because I was getting really high and I kept coughing, which made it sound like I was laughing. So I think Bugs thought I was making fun of him.
Right, yeah.
And so it's just like these real, like, tiny moments that chip away at what even could have been a friendship between the two of them. Because Richard starts off not liking Bugs, and it gets worse from there. And it really gets worse with the food poisoning, which they totally leave out of the movie because people are mad at Kitty. And then Richard, he's going to help. He's trying to bring Francoise a drink of water, and Bugs is demanding that he drag him outside because he's crapping all over himself, unfortunately. And Richard just leaves him in the situation that he's in.
Boy, this island just keeps getting better and better.
And no, they're all horrible people. It's really bad. But so, Bugs, the contention, between Bugs and Richard just gets worse and worse as the story goes on in either case. But Richard really drives that home when he sleeps with Bugs' girlfriend in the movie. That can't really help the situation at all.
Did that happen in the book?
No,
Okay,
not at all. He never slept with either of the women. He didn't sleep with any of the women on the island. So,
Oh, he was a poor blue-balled Richard.
Yeah. No wonder he took it all out on the shark.
Yeah.
But yeah, Richard does kill the shark and he feeds the camp for a few days, so he's kind of the hero. But people don't really know what to do with Richard because he's so extreme. Like, he's up, he's down. And in the book, Jed kind of suggests, especially once he finds out that Zeph and Sammy are probably coming to the island, he asks Sal, he's like, hey, I think Richard would be a good addition to my observation detail. Can you ask him to come and work with me? And so since Kiti's been bitching to be put on fishing and taken off of gardening, Sal just swaps them out. And Richard thinks it's a punishment at first, but then he's like, oh, the hill is kind of awesome. And he does find these little adventures. He starts nicking weed out of the fields, thinking that he's being super stealthy about it. And they insult him in the book the same way they do in the movies toward the end when it all comes to a point. The farmer's like, oh, you the little man steal on my weed. It's just and they're just like, do you think we don't see you?
Wait, does that guy look like Simon Pegg in that shot?
Yes.
He looks...
I missed it.
Yeah. It's when the Swedes are doing their shopping list.
Oh, and here's a big on hygienics. He does wish that he didn't smell like fish. So he's their main cook, and he's always cleaning fish, so he smells like fish. Richard gets him some soap in the book, but he doesn't do the gloves. I think that was the best solution for that because he was like, oh, right, just put a barrier between me and these things that I'm gutting. Genius.
Wow.
Gloves, a net.
Wow.
Whoa.
Like what we got. Love,
Yeah,
love.
exactly. See?
Love,
Except
love.
mine wouldn't catch anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, yours is
It
purely
won't,
novel.
Pierced.
it won't
Yeah.
catch fish or sperm.
Oh.
There you go.
And we are at half
second
an hour
break
in, so
time?
We knew there was a break
it is
coming.
now time for another
All right.
break. So we will be back.
Right as Bugs grabs Richard's penis. We'll be back.
Exactly. And we're back.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
And we're still watching the movie.
So we just got past Bugs molesting Richard, basically warning him not to sleep with Sal on
And
the
then what
rice
does he
run.
do?
What does he do, guys?
He can't listen to orders because he's a 20-something kid
And
who only has a one-track mind.
well, and Sal, I mean, she doesn't. She makes it pretty clear that she wants to sleep
He
with
grabs
Richard.
his cock.
Yeah,
Okay,
Bugs
you
grabs
skipped
him.
over
Yeah.
that part. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mentioned that before we went to break.
Oh. I must have tuned it out.
Bug says, keep your hands to yourself and your dick in your pants.
Now we're up to my favorite part when Carrot Top gets shot.
So Zeph and
This
Sammy.
is my favorite part of the whole movie.
Aw.
Like from here on, I actually enjoy it because Lou Diamond
Lou Diamond, yeah.
Lou Diamond Phillips shows up and he starts, laying some fucking law down on these people.
And Richard thinks that he's Rambo. So
Yeah, and
that's
he so
exciting.
isn't.
It turns into such an 80s movie. And in the book, it made so much more sense that Richard had such an obsession over the Vietnam War and like the A-Team and all of those programs back in the 80s that, were in relation to Vietnam.
See, that's why I was curious about the time frame when the movie took place, because you see, they throw in like a little. There's a clip from Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are little bitty mentions and allusions.
Yeah, but it doesn't ever get to the point where we're like, why did he hiss at her?
Because he's gone batshit insane. And Richard's kind of riding this line in both mediums, book and movie, where he keeps like debating in his head, like, would it be that bad if they made it to the beach? Okay, what's the end game here? Does he want them to make it? Does he not? And he keeps sort of thinking to himself, and that's the Lord of the Flies thing, where he's like, wow, it'd be a lot easier if the farmers just,
Kill
did
them.
them in. Yeah. That would solve our problem across the board.
That's in a way sort of the whole, not the point of it, obviously, but the island, the structure, everything. Eventually, you've got to just start letting people die. Not necessarily, the overt act of commission, but
Yeah.
you've got to start engaging in omission and allowing people to die to protect your thing that you've got because you're ultimately incredibly selfish.
Yeah, and Richard has a line that really encapsulates that in a movie when it comes to Christo specifically. So they banish Christo out in the tent to basically die on his own instead of putting him out of his misery. But and like we said, the people are complaining like, God, Christo, shut up. And they put him out in the woods. And Richard says that's like the thing with big tragedies or animal attacks, get better or die. It's the hanging around in between that really pisses people off. Mm-hmm. And so the thing with Etienne is that he's been campaigning to get Christo help, and in the book he starts to worry that Richard's going to turn on him because it's clear to the rest of the Beechers because Keaty makes a big deal of it in the movie where he's like, look, man, they're talking about you. They know you've gone off the fucking deep end. Come back to us. Like, I know you're fine. Don't go off the deep end like Daffy did. Stop talking about Daffy. He was a fucking nutter. So Keaty tries to bring Richard back from the brink because they're friends, but Richard idolizes Daffy too much without ever really having known Daffy. And it makes more sense in the book when Daffy's just set up rent-free in Richard's head from all the dreams and all the visions that he has. It makes a lot more sense. But Etienne becomes even despite how close they are and the fact that Richard doesn't steal his girlfriend in the book, Etienne's afraid for his life, thinking that Richard's going to kill him at, the snap of Sal's fingers, because toward the end of it, the third Swede, who they don't pay any more attention to after he translates after the accident, he just disappears. In the book, he's a much bigger player because he just goes insane. Like, his two friends get attacked and he sits on the beach. He starts wasting away. He's emaciated. And then Sal, without ever saying the words, makes it abundantly clear to Richard that he's supposed to kill Carl.
Got it. Okay.
And Richard never tries to do it, but he's like, oh my God, Sal really is this terrible human being. And that's when he decides to make a plan and get his main people off the island and get them away from this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's unintentionally sort of a message about communism because it becomes a secular cult. Mm-hmm. It's not a religious cult. At no point do you get sort of a quasi-spirituality or anything like that. Like, people aren't out there communing with nature, trying to see God and things stuff that I kind of thought you would see. It's totally a pleasure-based secular thing, but it's a cult. You have this cult leader, and she's doing all of the things that are the warning signs. Do they cut you off from people you used to know? Uh-huh. Do they not let you leave? Things like that. Right. Do they sort of define your entire world?
Do they deprive you of A through Z? She doesn't... I don't even think she lets him come back to camp, so he's eating bugs out in the jungle, and she's depriving him of everything. So, yeah, you're right, Jason. It's definitely a cult for sure.
I kind of wish. I didn't know Deadpool was in this.
Me neither. Oh my God, that would it would have been such better.
Oh my God, that would have been awesome.
Oh man,
it's a commercial for Deadpool.
Yes, we're just playing around.
I kind of was hoping that at some point Richard would burn the whole fucking place down. I was kind of hoping for that he would just, and maybe that is a little too on the nose. I don't know, but just the idea that look, this place is a fucking joke. Daffy said you have to leave. Daffy failed because he didn't make them leave. So for Richard to succeed, burn it all down. Now they got to go.
Yeah, but burning it down would destroy the paradise, and so there's no real way to save it and that's the whole point, is that the people with their parasitic ways, they just ruin it because they have to find it. They can't just leave well enough alone.
Sorry,
but
the scene in the tent, I kept thinking of Austin Powers 3.
In a spy shack. Yeah.
There's the silhouette from the light on the side of the tent. It's a little mini-me coming out like a baby.
But the big turnaround here, the difference between book and movie is that, so Sal's already outed Richard for being a liar, copying the map, all that in the movie, as far as we know. In the book, the tension for him and what's sort of pushing him over the edge is he still has that secret. Jed keeps the secret that Richard was the one to give away the map.
Yeah, okay.
And the thing that works out for Richard, oh, look, it's Wilson. from Castaway. I
It
thought
is.
that.
Holy shit! It is Wilson.
So they're celebrating Tet, so the Thai New Year celebration at the camp, but they've got like a painting of what seriously looks like Wilson
It
the
really does
volleyball
look
from
like Wilson, yeah.
Castaway, and this is before Castaway, so interesting. But
Same universe. I don't care.
we just crossed it over.
Yeah, I actually don't care.
But in the book, Jed and Richard are pretty tight. So Jed doesn't spill the beans about Richard copying the map and all that. And there's not the exact same level of threat from the drug farmers. They didn't explicitly say like no more people, and because the drug farmers in the movies kind of hold the Beechers responsible no matter who comes to the island.
Yeah.
They just automatically assume that they've been blabbing about it. But and Richard does do all of this where he does put Christo out of his misery to save Jed, actually, because Jed is the one who won't leave him alone in the tent. Like in the movie, it's Etienne, but same purpose. So he's trying to get the people that are still sane enough to leave to go with him. So Richard kills Christo to put him out of his misery, all that.
Yeah, and this is an overt act of murder.
Yes.
So, I mean, this is,
In the book, it's not as much because Christo's already Richard even talks through it. He's like, he's barely breathing to the point where he doesn't even have enough oxygen for his brain to be functioning. Like he's gone. Richard's actually committing an act of mercy more in the book than in the movie. In this, Christo actually struggles and knows that he's being killed.
Yeah, Christo, I mean, his eyes are open. He's looking around. He's clearly in a bad way, but he's not. You get the impression that if they got him to a hospital,
he's not past the point of no return.
Yeah, they get some antibiotics in him. Maybe he loses the leg.
Yeah.
But he's not at death's door quite yet.
But at this point, it's selfish because it's easier to leave without him. He would slow them down if they tried to leave with him. So it's all that selfishness. But in the book, when the farmers do come, because Richard, they notice him in both mediums. They're like, "Oh yeah, you're this idiot guy who's been like crawling around our tents and stuff. Do you think we didn't see you?" Because he does go out of his mind thinking he's super stealthy, and Richard thinks the compromising factor is his hallucinations of Daffy, because he's like, shit, Daffy's starting to appear to me when I'm in front of other people now. This is bad, because what if I answer him when I'm like in front of Adam talking right now? And he realizes that it's a problem, but not enough to really be able to get rid of Daffy. So there's that still going on, but the farmers do come just like they do in the movie, but there's none of this like, Sal, you have to shoot him because he's the one who gave away the secret. In the book, did you make it to the end of the book, Jason?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing because I'm laughing because one of the farmers in this scene.
Lou Diamond is pissed.
Yeah, one of the farmers in this scene sounds exactly like one of the pirates from Heart of Archness.
Oh, no.
I do, Richard bitch. No, you don't.
We hold erection for king.
See, this coup right here is in progress. Nailed it.
Incipient.
It was incipient, then it was in progress. But thank you, David Cross. But the farmers come, and like the big reveal is that it was Richard who did the map, because the farmer has the map and Sal hasn't like told the secret or anything. The farmer kills Zeph and Sammy, and so Richard thinks he's safe. But then the farmer comes and throws it down, and Sal discovers then that it was Richard who copied the map, and they start taking the fishing spears and stabbing Richard with them. And like attacking him and his crew, and then eventually, spoiler alert, he gets saved by Francoise, Etienne, Jed, and Kitty. They team up and like start fighting the other people back away from him to save him. But they go full ape shit, like, because he compromised their paradise, and so they want to make him suffer, and they're like just poking him, not enough to just kill him with one blow. They're torturing him with the spears.
I think it's so fascinating that when actually confronted with real consequences, Sal basically throws a tantrum.
Yeah.
And she's completely impotent. She can't do anything.
Yeah.
Because in the movie, the challenge is that Sal, you have to shoot Richard. He's the one who gave away the secret, but like you said, she's unable to do it.
Yeah.
She does do it, but the farmer doesn't give her any bullets.
Yeah, well, I think
it's like Russian roulette or something.
It was a little unclear because whenever he drops all the rounds out, he's very, very clearly there's one round left.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, it's Russian
roulette. But then
roulette.
He puts a second one in. And I don't know if they if that was a mistake, like there was only supposed to be one round in there, or if there were supposed to be two, or whatever. But the Russian roulette thing didn't make any sense to me because
Not a lot,
it's
no.
like if you want her to kill him, just here.
Yeah, just shoot him.
Just have her shoot him, yeah. But, I mean, because they try to give the farmer, and I don't know why they did that in the movie. It's like they tried to give the farmer some depth that they didn't need, for the story to end. Like, it's not like the farmer needed to get all philosophical with them. Like, look how far you'll go to preserve this beach. He has no investment in this. Why does it matter to him? Like, yeah,
it's weird. And that's sort of like the question I had earlier, which was, what was the arrangement they have? Because it seems like if drug dealers, from my limited farmers. Small businessmen who happen to
melon farmers.
Yeah.
They're growing that high fructose syrup.
I will not contribute to the obesity crisis. No, but it seems like if you've got a group of people engaged in the narcotics trade in a region of the world where doing so carries a death sentence.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're clearly okay with killing.
Yes.
What could the people on the island possibly have either offered them or threatened them with to come to this arrangement? Well, it just seems like it would have been so much easier when there were like 4 people on the island just to kill them.
Well, I think there's a description in the book that they don't really bother with
tying up loose ends, as we call it.
Yeah.
They kind of emphasize how normal the farmers look, because Richard has been playing this he's got Vietnam on the mind all the time, where he makes everything a game. He's like, oh, they're the Charlie that I don't want to run into in the jungle. And so it's always a game in his head, and the stakes are always higher than they normally are until this moment when the stakes actually are incredibly high. So then he sees the farmers in the book and he's like, oh yeah, the guy with the missing teeth, he's kind of normal. He can't be more than like 19 years old. And he starts to realize like, oh, these are just normal guys. So they're not really that scary until completely pushed. And the farmers don't get pissed until they realize that there's a map involved. So I think that's where it's not really holding it over or anything. The farmers don't want to kill anybody really, but the guns they carry around are necessary because they're in a dangerous line of work.
Yeah.
I don't think it's not the same stakes as it is in the movie.
Well, the story doesn't resonate in the movie, and clearly the movie itself didn't resonate with the audience because it 39 million, I think, was its domestic take.
Oof, that's a tough.
And I actually looked it up. In
Lou Diamond tricked your ass, Tilda Swinton.
In 2000, the average price of a movie ticket was about $6.
All right.
So that means 6.5 million tickets were sold. So I actually did some math, and that means that, assuming that everybody just went to see it once, which I think is a safe assumption.
Yes, I saw once.
That means that 274.5 million of our fellow Americans did not go and see this movie. And I think that's a pretty big statement.
Well,
as a nation, we came together to ignore this movie.
Well,
and Leo was nominated for a Razzie.
This is way before he won his Oscar, guys. Way before.
Yeah. So he was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Actor.
For Worst Actor?
Yeah, the Golden Razzies, the Golden Raspberries. They're awarded.
I had utterly forgotten that those existed.
Oh yeah. So he was nominated for Worst Actor.
Wow.
And the only reason that he didn't win it is because in the same year another movie came out called Battlefield Earth. And one Mr. John Travolta stole the award from him.
He snatched it right from his hands.
Oof. But we're about to get to a point so the movie's over, like a lot more people leave the island together in the movie than in the book. And there's kind of a mystery as to what happens to a lot of the people in the book. So Francoise, Etienne, Kitty, Jed, and Richard take this little raft that Zeph and Sammy had made to get to the island. They take it to get back to the other island, and I guess they flag down a boat to get back to Koh Phangan, whatever they do. And then years later, Richard... It's funny. Richard's like, oh, it's a small world, because Kitty, and Jed are all English. So they go back to London, where Richard came from, and Kitty and Jed work in the same office. Huh. And so, he's like, I see them all the time. We'll go down to the pub and have a beer. Francoise and Etienne, I never saw them again after we left the beach. Now, I heard, and I brought this up earlier, I heard about Cassie in the news. She got busted smuggling, and it sounds like she's going to be killed by the Thai government. He was like, I wonder what happened to Selling Bugs, because they got gravely injured the night with the spears and everything, because Francoise and his friends picked up spears to defend him. But yeah, if you look at these computers, that's what I'm gearing up toward, Jason, because we were talking about the timeline. Because Leo DiCaprio is the right age to play this character if he was born in 74 or 76. And Vietnam was obviously a huge influence on him as a kid, the character. But
Well, because
Then you
is it
see
like
these-
implied that his parents or his dad was in Vietnam or something?
No, there's no
okay,
mention of
all right.
that. It's just that, especially since Richard's English in the book, he's more obsessed with like the A-team and programs that center around it.
I
or
would
has
love to
something do
know
with it.
how much Excite paid to be in this.
But like you see the computers and
good
stuff,
investment.
and they, because I can't remember at the end of the book. It's something similar. Francoise sends the one picture that they have of the whole group to Richard, and because they talk about something that you've talked about in your book, parallel universes. And at the beginning of the movie, Francoise is like, Richard, stop pontificating about parallel universes. This is just bullshit that American boys say to get French girls into bed.
Yeah, but how did she do this thing where she writes it on the screen like that? That's like some Sandra Bullock the net level technology. You couldn't do that in 2000. I couldn't send you a picture and have it right on the screen like that.
I don't know, but that's the only contact he has with her. They kept that true to the story. So Richard does. He keeps up with everybody sort of via email, and that's the same in the movie. And Francoise sends him because he brings her back a disposable camera from the rice run, and he's like, "It'll take a while to get the prints, but you like taking pictures." And so she sends him that picture of them in the parallel universe when they were on the beach together. So that comes full circle.
Oh,
Now,
Yeah.
does Sal leave in the movie? Was she on that raft too? Sal and
No,
Bugs?
that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Sal
okay.
and Bugs get so gravely injured and they get left behind. So
But that's just-
in the book, Carl, the Swede that Richard was supposed to kill but didn't, Richard does get angry with him in like kind of an explosive fit. He like tackles him and Carl thinks he's trying to kill him. So Carl takes the boat that the Swedes fish on and that they do the rice run on and leaves everybody there.
Ooh,
And so
damn.
that raft was the only way to get off the island and get to even the close by island that Zeph and Sammy came from. So that's why Richard sort of sits and he's like, I wonder whatever happened to Sal. But he sees that Cassie got off the island somehow. So he's like, okay, I like to think that certain people got home. Like I make it up in my head that they've got their stories and they made it out. But he was like, Sal and Bugs, they were kind of hurt. So I really don't know what happened to them. But you never really know. Like it. So some people the people who made it out, and like he worries about Keaty a little bit, even though he sees him on a regular basis, because Keaty and Jed, they talk about the small world multiple times, because Keaty and Jed, before they knew each other, stayed in like a similar house on the Khao San Road at some point, and Keaty accidentally burned it down with a joint.
Oh, no.
And so Keaty hates his new job once they're back in England, and Richard's like, oh, I wonder if I'm going to hear about arson in the news because Keaty's going to burn down the office building. But yeah, you don't really know what happens to the rest of them.
Danny Boyle actually did say that there was a prequel it had already been written. It was in the works, but apparently I don't think anything has happened.
Prequel? Like, who would that even include, though?
Oh my God, Angelo Badalamenti did the music. I didn't know that. He did the music for. He does all the David Lynch music.
Okay.
He did
Okay.
the Twin Peaks theme and all that.
Oh,
Very nice.
There you go. So-
prequel. It was supposedly. The description I read was very weird. It was like it was a prequel, but everything was advanced to like 2014 or something. It's
Yeah, the
I
timeline's
don't
hard
think
to
I don't think
determine.
we'll ever see that, and I think life is fine. Never seeing that.
I'm trying to think if there were any more interesting points, but so I never really figured out the timeline. There's definitely a difference in timeline because I think there was much more 80s influence in the book. But I mean, he had a Nintendo, so it must have been like early-ish mid-90s, I'm guessing.
he had a
'cause,
Game Boy,
he had a little Game Boy Nintendo that he had on the island, so those were around.
Which, by the way, there's no way you could have played a Game Boy in that sunlight. There's no way you couldn't have seen the fucking screen.
Underneath a tree line.
I know. I was just.
At the camp. But yeah, so Alf to Seinfeld. I think I might be the only one in the room who can do
Yeah,
it.
I can't.
Yeah, no. First timer.
Okay, so straight fives from the boys this week. And this was my pick, Hindsighters, in case we didn't mention that. I'm not sure if we did.
It was so
But-
long ago.
I saw this movie in the theater, back when parents didn't really worry that much about, like, hey, let's go see the new Leo DiCaprio picture. And then it turns out to be this ape shit project that this movie was. And my parents were like, oh, because my mom, just a very short side story, she's the reason why we all saw Titanic, because he got the teenage girl crowd for sure with Titanic, but Leo also had every mother in the country fall in love with him from Titanic. So my mom was
Yeah.
like, ooh, the new Leo movie. So, of course, we went to go see it. And I was like, oh, fucking Leo DiCaprio. Like, okay. And I must have been about 13 when this movie came out. And I was like, that was weird. And there used to be this thing, hindsighters, where you would go to bookstores and actually just hang out for a while and check out books and read a little bit of them. And if you liked them, you bought them and took them home. That's what
Barnes
happened.
and Noble.
Yes, I was at Barnes and Noble and I saw the book The Beach, and it said soon to be a major motion picture.
Oh, well played. Well played.
And so I was like, oh, I've got to get this book. And I read it because, same story.
I would
And
love for one of those books to say soon to be a minor motion picture.
soon to be an indie film.
Yeah, soon to be a forgettable motion picture.
But yeah, because they change the covers for books, or they used to, where it's like soon to be a major motion picture starring Leo DiCaprio to get more people to buy the books. And
Right.
I was like, oh, the movie was pretty and I don't know what it was, because I wasn't a Leo fan, but I was just like, I felt like I was missing something from the movie, and I was like, books always have the answers, and it did. Like, the book helped me understand the overall story so much better. And obviously, to do this movie, I reread the book, and I just enjoyed it even more because I understand like references to the A-Team and stuff that I didn't get when I was 13 years old. So I'm gonna say this movie jumped up to a 7.5.
Oh,
Wow,
well
okay.
done. All
Yeah,
right, that's
because
awesome.
the overall experience of it. So maybe the movie's not getting that much of the credit. It's probably more the book, but them together and like getting to go through the juxtaposition and the difference between the two mediums and how things translate. That always fascinates me as an English major, to see how things present in a book versus a movie. I always like to see the difference. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Well, good. Very
right.
good. I'm glad.
Yeah. I think it caught the spirit of the thing. I'll give it that. And it doesn't make a lot of sense if the movie's the only one you've ever partaken in. So I totally understand if that's the case. But yeah, I guess that's a wrap.
Yeah.
So,
And I think that means that, unfortunately, we are going to be sort of breaking for the season.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah, we'll sort of be back with the next season
yeah.
of Hindsight is Horrifying. Because,
Oh, right. We're supposed to do seasons.
We're getting
Yeah,
there. We're
yeah.
getting there.
Yeah, see, it's such an
Listeners?
old-fashioned concept.
Yes.
you
It
know.
is.
But we are going to be gone for a few weeks. We'll be off air for a couple of weeks. So-
Well, I mean, are we? I don't know. We'll figure it out off camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to be taking another little break. Not quite as long as the last one.
No.
Hopefully.
No.
So
2 weeks, and we will be
yes.
back. Whose pick is it next?
that's a great question. Let's see. I can tell you.
I think it's Mr. Brown's.
I think it might be Mr.
Well, because we
Brown's.
did Sharky's Machine.
I can tell you in just a second while I scroll through our
Sharky's-
options.
Yeah, Sharky's Machine.
She's
Then
got
this.
everything
So
in that
yeah.
device there.
So that is going to be Mr. Brown's pick.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
All right.
internet is failing me. So, but yeah, I think you're right. I think
We'll
it's
work
Adam's
that
pick.
out.
So
We'll work it out.
Yeah.
we shall during our intrepid travels. So I guess I'm challenging you to a present off while
I
we're
know.
traveling.
Oh, that's not why I did that.
Oh, I
No,
know.
no, we know.
Yeah.
No, and it was very
Get
thoughtful and very
pictures.
amazing.
Yeah, pictures and stories.
Pictures
Yeah,
and
that's
stories,
what we
got
need.
it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, then, hindsighters, we will see you soon. But until that time, we enjoy We enjoy having you guys. Thanks for joining us for your drive time, your listening time, your finding a hidden paradise time, and Thailand time. We don't care what kind of time. We just enjoy having you here in the studio with us. This has been Darth, Adam, and Jason with The Beach. This was Hindsight, and good night.